Hello, it is me, Chasey Poo, and today I'm talking about the controversial topic thing that's happening in the media right now where Scarlett Johansson is being cast to play a trans man in a movie. Let's just take a moment to let that sink in. So Scarlett Johansson is a cis woman and she's an actress and she's been in a lot of movies. And she was actually in a movie by the same director of this film that's coming out that she's going to be playing a trans man. She played a character that was extremely whitewashed because she is a white woman and the character and life was based off of somebody who is not white. Lots of controversy and just all-around criticisms over that movie, which absolutely you are whitewashing a story that was super important. And so why is she making the news again? And why is everything so controversial when we talk about her right now? So there's a movie called Rub and Tug, which is about the life of a trans man who owned a bunch of massage parlors in the 80s or the 70s, I believe. And this is just a story, you know, we're gonna tell a story of his life, which is cool. It's exciting. Look, representation. We get to kind of learn more about somebody's story, but I do have some issues with it, okay? One, I absolutely think that there needs to be more stories out there of trans people, regardless of their life, because we need to kind of show that trans people exist and existed before the 2000s, because people think it's like a trend now, like it's all over the YouTubes now, people are all transgendering. That's not how that happens, and I think that it's cool to show a story where trans people existed way before. But there are so many issues with it. First of all, it is a cis woman playing a trans character. Now, don't go and pause this video right now and go in my comment section and go ra-ta-ta-ta-ta. But actors are supposed to do that. They're supposed to be playing a role of somebody that they're not. Okay, here's the thing. And this might be controversial, and that's fine if people don't agree with me. But I really don't think that cis people should be playing trans characters at all. We are a marginalized community that has now been able to have a voice, and we can speak for ourselves, and we could talk about our community and be part of this community and not have other people talk for us. It's always been a good thing that allies have been there for us and talked for us, but now that we have a voice, it's time for allies to still be with us, just listen to us and be there and advocate with us. But now that we have a voice and we are visible and people know who we are, there are a lot of trans actors out there. There's Laverne Cox and Elliot Fletcher, and yeah, maybe they're not the main role character in a movie or a TV show, they're still there, and it's still that representation, and it's like a step forward in the right direction for us. So this might be where some people might disagree with me, but I think that in the end, it's not the end of the world if a cis person plays a trans character. I would 99.9999 up to 100% would rather a trans person play a trans character, because it's cool to see that, oh my god, a trans person has a job and they're famous, and look, they're playing a character that's like them in a movie, and it's cool. But I understand that that's never going to happen. So we kind of have to compromise, and I hate that we have to do that, but I want to just talk about something that I'm like, I could understand how this could be a thing. And that's why some people might get mad at me, I guess. So I think that if cis people are going to play trans people, it should absolutely not be a woman playing a trans man. Because right there, you're implying that that trans person is either still a woman, was always a woman, will always be a woman, could never actually be a man. Because we all know Scarlett Johansson as a woman. We're going to start saying, oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson, she played that man in that movie, but you're saying she in terms of the character, and the character is a man, and you're supposed to be using male and he, him, pronouns for him, but because the actress is a woman, you're saying she. So you're completely dehumanizing and de-transing the actual trans person. So just to plug a book that my friend actually wrote called I'm Supposed to Relate to This, it talks about kind of trans representation in movies and moving images. It was originally her master's thesis, and then she turned it into a book, and now the book has a second version. I wrote the foreword, and it's a really good book and good research, so I'm going to put that in the description below if you want to just take a look at it. And this kind of brings up the issue of cis men playing trans women. Okay, so already in this society, trans women aren't seen as women. Okay, they aren't seen as women by cis society, by straight cis society, and by a lot of lesbian cis society that exists, that, you know, they will always biologically be male. And I'm squinting so hard and quoting here because that's just ridiculous. So we live in this society where trans women are harassed, have violence towards them, and are abused, and it's just not a great time right now, and I really don't like that by casting cis men to play trans women, you're once again perpetuating this view that trans women aren't women, they're just men in a dress. So it kind of, oh, it's a cross-dresser, oh, it's a drag queen. People don't even know what those words mean. They just think it's a man in a wig, it's a man dressing like a woman. And I don't like that because, again, if you think of the show Transparent, which I think has great representation, okay, even though it is the cis man that's playing the trans woman, okay, I think it's still good representation, and it really opens the doors to a lot of things for trans people and for cis people to kind of understand. But when you're thinking about that show, you're like, oh yeah, Jeffrey Tambor, I think that's his name. Yeah, he plays that woman, that girl. Yeah, he comes out and then he leaves his wife and he has kids, and it's just he all the time, and not the laughing kind. He. No, not funny. It's more like he, him, he, when you're supposed to really see the character as a trans person that came out in like late life and is embracing her identity and using she pronouns. So that's why I have such a big problem with cis people being casted as trans characters, because they are always cast as the assigned gender that the person was before. Scarlett Johansson was assigned female at birth, and she is female, and she identifies as female. She is cis. She is playing a trans man who was also assigned female at birth but does not identify that way. In his true self and his true soul, he feels and knows that he is a man, which is why he transitioned in order to be comfortable with his body and with himself. And obviously I'm not talking for him, I don't know who he is, and he's not alive anymore, but I'm just saying, like, that's usually why trans people transition and, like, say that they're men because they are. Trans men, obviously. So I have a really big problem. Now, if you're going to spin it on me, we can actually absolutely have a debate about this. What if the character was cast by a cis man to play a trans character? Now, here's the thing, okay? I think that that would be way less worse than what is happening right now, because you are acknowledging that this person is a man. And that makes me feel a lot better. Now, yes, there is absolutely a movie with Felicity Huffman where she is playing a trans woman. And Felicity Huffman is a cis woman. And that movie, I remember seeing it. It is really problematic. There are a lot of things I'm like, that probably shouldn't be in this movie. But for the fact that it is a cis woman playing a trans woman, that makes me feel better than if that movie was portrayed by a cis man. I feel like my train of thought is kind of all over the place, but I hope that you're following. And kind of one of the last things that I want to say is that Scarlett Johansson did give a statement, I guess, about all of its backlash, because it is, you know, something huge that's happening. And here's the thing with the trans community is that, like, we don't back down anymore. We don't, no. People don't walk on us. I mean, they walk all over us, absolutely, they still do, but we kind of have this amazing community online and in person of people who are there for us and back us up. So, you know, when the Stonewall trailer came out and it depicted a cis fucking gay white man throwing the first brick during the Stonewall riots, that caused an uproar because it was a trans woman of color who did that in reality. Learn your goddamn history. I'm sorry, I'm getting angry. This video is going to get age restricted and demonetized probably, but the community got so angry at that we called for a boycott, and guess what happened? I'm pretty sure that movie only made like $100,000 in the opening weekend, which is nothing compared to the budget that they used. And you know what? I don't even feel bad about it. You wrote this story over trans people. Anyways, so we have the power to boycott things. And there's another movie with, I believe, Michelle Rodriguez, and she was playing oh my god, the character was like an assassin and then was captured and then made to have a sex change in order to, like, punish them. Oh my, what, where are we that that's even okay to even, like, are you kidding me? Anyways, Scarlett Johansson made a statement, so I'm going to read it to you right now because I was like, okay, maybe she's like acknowledging that maybe it's not such a good idea. And, you know, a lot of people online have been saying that. I don't even think that there was a casting call out there for trans actors or anybody because Scarlett had already played a role in a movie that the guy had already written or directed, that she was chosen like that automatically. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting kind of theory to conceptualize because you didn't even give the shot of any trans people to even try out for this role. And there are so many trans actors out there. Like, I only named 2, but there are so many. So when she was confronted, this is what she said. Tell them that they can be directed to Jeffrey Tambor, Jared Leto, and Felicity Huffman's reps for comment. Because they all have played trans characters and they are all cis. Listen, no one's happy about Jared Leto's fucking character in Dallas Buyers Club. No one was happy about that, especially because we are, and this is in the book that I was talking about, by the way, we are really transing this character, and it's super interesting read, honestly. Like, I'm not just like promo for my friend. No, like I'm like proud to back this up because it's super good. Anyways, this is kind of like what Michelle Rodriguez said when she was talking about her movie. I think it was called The Assignment. There was so much backlash, and she was like, no one's talking about LGBT stuff, and she was just, I'm part of this community. I think she's bisexual, so yeah, of course you're part of this community. Absolutely. No one's saying you're not. But maybe you should listen to the trans people who are saying that this role is a mistake and that you are portraying a sex change as some type of punishment, and being trans is a punishment, where being trans is, and being able to transition and have any type of surgery that your body needs or that you need, it's liberating and it's freeing, and you're finally being yourself instead of what this movie is portraying. And I know it's not saying you're trans, you're bad, it's punishment, but you are literally associating transness with punishment, which is what always happens. And I can make an entire series about the trans representation in the media and literally talk about every single film and episode and movie that I've ever seen that has a trans character in it, and just talk about why it's good, why it's bad. But here's the thing. Trans people are always depicted as being bad and as being villains, as being drug dealers, as being sex workers. I don't think that being a sex worker is bad at all, but obviously society does. And it is just such a shame, and we are finally starting to kind of go over that. Like, even in Orange is the New Black, which is, I'm literally rewatching it right now. Laverne Cox is a great character, and it's great representation, but she's in prison. And as much of a great representation as it is, and as she is trans as well, playing a trans character, she is still in prison. So you kind of have that association. I might be doing like a far reach right now. All right, I'm going to stop this video because it's way too long. These are my thoughts on it. What do you think about this, about Scarlett Johansson's role as a trans man? What does it mean to you? I feel like there are a bunch of things that I missed saying, but I got so heated with all of the representation of trans people, especially trans women. And like, that's the thing too. Trans men get like, not like trans men get nothing, but like in terms of representation, like name me 10 representations of trans people that you can think of right off the bat. And I have to like sit there and actually think. And most of them are recent. And I'm so glad, because before it was like, boys don't cry. Oh my God, look, someone's dead and they're trans. And someone gets assaulted. And then there was like another movie where, you know, the trans man is seen as a villain. And it's just not a good time. Whereas now, like, the trans person exists in reality and is trans but also has a life, and that's happening. But why do you have to go back now? Why did we take like 10 steps forward? Now we have to take 100 back with this film that's going to come out. Anyways, boycott this movie. That's all I gotta say. I love you. I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye.